Okay, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Fuck Ups and Success. Today we have the omnipresent Johan Zammit. Many of us have met him in the startup community at lots of networking events. I'm really glad to have him here with us. How are you doing, first of all?
Great, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, my pleasure. So Johan's the founder at the Malta Innovation Summit. He's also an administrator at Business Angels Malta, a board member at Silicon Valletta, and most importantly, the founder of SmartStudios. That's quite a big catalogue of things that you do. Obviously, they all interact. And just before we got started, we had a very interesting 2-minute discussion about innovation. So I think it would be good to start with that. What do you think about innovation, and how has your understanding of it developed over time?
Yeah, innovation, obviously, it's a word that is used and abused. we hear about it a lot, but I think a lot of people out there, they don't understand the core of it. The core of it is super simple. Innovation is all about finding solutions. It's all about finding maybe unconventional solutions to problems, but it's just that. It doesn't have to be. Usually we link innovation to some sexy wording on a product to make it look nice and make it. Innovation is just finding problems. It could be the lighting in the studio, and we're finding an innovative way of lighting the studio better. So innovation is just that. So it can be in using any technology, any. It's not technology. It's not just technology. It's technology is just the enabler of innovation. Because sometimes we link it a lot to just there is this new technology, there is this AI and blockchain and IoT, and we say that is innovation. That is not innovation. It's the use of that technology to solve the solution, the problems that society, or the challenges that society has. That is innovation.
So innovation can also be something that's day to day for the average person.
Yes. There is innovation at multiple levels. So there you can start at innovation at a global level, like we have climate change as a big challenge to humanity at the moment. How are we going to be innovative? And then innovative at various levels, at government levels, at corporate levels and organizations, at personal levels. So there are global problems, and we can be innovative. There are challenges, for example, that Malta or any country would have, and we can be innovative at that stage. So, and when I say at the country level, it doesn't have to be just government, but also what the citizens are doing to be innovative. Then obviously a big chunk of innovation is linked to organizations. So inside an organization, you have a business, I have a business. How are we going to be innovative? And when I say innovative, it's not just inventing something new, but also seeing what you have, seeing the market and the customers out there, and arriving to them in a better, more intuitive way, more something that they want more, and that would be the innovation at an organization level, or building a culture of innovation within the organization. And then there is the aspect of personal. So personal in our lives, we all have challenges in our lives. And so those are like the problems of our life. Everyone has problems in his life, including me. And we can try to face those challenges in an innovative way as well. So there are various levels. Innovation is in everything and everywhere, basically. That's
linked to this is even startups. Of course, startups and innovation go hand in hand. Do you think that startups always need to seek out to change the world, or could they even be something maybe a bit more simpler?
Yes. So startups, the whole thing about startups is that they need to find a niche, a challenge, like we were saying, a problem, a challenge, a niche, and solve that challenge within a niche. So depending on the industry that the startup is going to go into, that industry has challenges, has problems, and they need to find something which it's not being catered for by all the other players, or is being catered for in a not in a so good way, and hone on it, focus on it, and solve it. However, to answer your question, it doesn't have to be. We don't have to become all startups don't have to be like a Tesla and they invent a million things. Like they don't have to be inventors. It could be just something that is happening in a million places already, and they solve it in a particular place. So they don't need to invent anything. For example, like if you and me are thinking, in Valletta, what if I want to have some pastizzi? Why don't we open up a coffee shop with pastizzi in Valletta? Of course, there are coffee shops and pastizzi all over the place, but maybe there's a place where the people meet and there's no coffee and pastizzi, and you offer that. That is a startup, a business. So you found a niche within a business with an industry which is full. Where there are cafeterias and pasticceria all over, but you found a niche somewhere where there isn't, and you offer that service because there is the people out there they would need that service in that place. So obviously, this is it could be then technology comes in and all that, but the whole argument is we do not need to have like 20 patents to start a startup. If you and me are going to start a startup, we just need to identify a pain point, something that society, something that government, something that the general people out there require and need, and try to give them a solution to that. We don't need to wait until you and me both do a PhD, then we have our papers and everything, and then we have something really unique, and then we do a patent, wait for the patent, and then we start the startup. You just need to start, and you just need to start doing something. Hopefully
yeah, makes sense. It makes sense. You obviously found some pain points to solve back in 2005. I'm actually quite curious. What was Malta like in that time for the startup scene? It seems like a number of companies were actually founded in that same time period.
I'll explain. Yeah, I think there is a correlation. That was the time. At the time, I'm 43 now. I was 27 back then. At 20, I left university when I was 21, 22, obviously, doing a degree in IT. I found my first job building, initially it was for a short period of time, a web developer. And then I became the manager of web developers quite fast, and we started building the team. So I did initially, before opening up my own business, I did like those 5 years or so where I learned a bit about the corporate world, because we used to build websites of major hotels, for example, major corporations, and you meet with the clients and see what they want. You turn it into code and websites and online stores. It was the time that period in the beginning of the 2000s was the period where digital was starting. We're still pushing a lot in 2021 in digital, but that time there was no online stores in Malta, for example, and we started building. It was really exciting, building the first online stores in Malta. So a new shift, a new set of opportunities came about, which in the 90s they didn't exist, and that's why you see a lot of companies in Malta and also in the world that came about in that 2000. I myself, so I did those 5 years, and then at 27 I started my first software development company, and obviously I started doing what I knew from my full-time job, doing websites, doing online stores, doing consultancy in digital marketing, and in taking your business online and all. I didn't invent anything. I just moved from working for someone to working for myself, and I started building the team. I started in a small office as big as this room, like a space for 3 people. I had myself and 2 developers, and we started building again websites and online stores and all that.
SmartStudios focuses on people, technology, and innovation. But who are your first customers, and what did you do for them?
So initially was again technology, because my background, we're here again. This is related to the first sale discussion. Initially, it was technology. So this company wants to digitize its document management system. Johan is into digitization, and we do that. However, I was very eager to start the initial sales of the innovation part, and I really enjoyed the first couple of times when we managed to run, for example, a design thinking exercise. So we received the request of a company which wanted to build an app, like nowadays, like it's app. However, it was a one-liner of we want to design an app. And I thought, yeah, this is a perfect example where we can use the design thinking exercises, the what if this, what if that. We asked them, what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens, and that was the first time that we managed to in practice link the innovation and the technology. So the client request was simply a technology solution. But we managed to run some design thinking exercises with them, hone in on what really the problem was, build a strategy for that, and how we're going to execute that, how we're going to satisfy the need of the person out there that's going to use this app. And then execute, because here again, if before I mentioned maybe persistence is a big thing, execution is the next big thing. Business is all about execution. Maybe 15% the idea and 85% execution. So it's all about executing. It's not going to be a straight line, but you and me can change this water into whiskey, have some brilliant ideas, have a drink and brilliant ideas. Tomorrow, nothing happens, That it's not going to lead us anywhere. But if tomorrow we wake up and start calling someone, what if this? Or do you have this? Or can we run this? And you start moving, then it's where the things start. That's where things start happening. Execution. So, hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. So, were there any other similar case studies that you came across?
Case studies in what sense?
With helping companies, to innovate.
Yeah. No. There are.
I.e., like, what are the most interesting projects that you've had to participate in?
Yeah, some of them, most of them, they sort of. I don't mention names for a reason. It's not like we. It's usually an innovation project. It shows itself externally, maybe in a marketing campaign, in a way that the product or service changes, but there is a very big internal process. So I'm not going to mention names in terms of, but what I can vouch, because I saw it with my own hands, is that these things do actually work and give results, So I'm not going to get into too many examples, but in terms of if, for example, there's someone listening and says, I'm stuck. A way of getting unstuck usually is to get anyone, to actually help you clarify this idea, clarify what the market is, what the idea is, how we're going to link them together, what are the steps that can be taken, how can you start the initial steps of executing. It definitely helps, and it definitely, there's a return on investment on the innovation part for sure.
Okay. When we got started, obviously, I mentioned the number of the different positions you hold.
Okay.
There's quite a lot of them. It makes one wonder, like, how does one person is able to act in so many different places?
Yeah. When you look at them, yes, you might think that they are very different. However, they are all linked to the innovation and technology, or people, innovation, technology that I mentioned, and maybe there are more into innovation and technology, because the people side, it's omnipresent. And here I reiterate maybe the third important thing. People, it's the human element. Although I'm a technology person, that is what I've learned through the years. It's the human element. We were mentioning the first sale, how you're going to make the first sale through people. The human element is important. So even me doing this interview here, it's a way of interacting. It's a way of being out there, rather than just being a geek behind a laptop and thinking and doing on my own. You need to interact, you need to share your ideas, and you need to see what other people are. But back to your question about different roles. I see it in this way. You have your own business where where obviously you're solving some challenge, some problem for organizations out there. You're offering a service or a product, and you do that for most of the week. Then there is the element of both giving back, because nowadays, for example, I mentor a lot with startups. It's good for the startup to receive like advice, and it's also useful for me to actually recount all the experience and help them back in 2005 or prior. I did not have like sort of a mentor, and I say, if I had a mentor, I would suggest to anyone, find someone and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask, and you'll be given the thing. Ask. And who can you best ask is a mentor or someone who did it before. But back to the organizations. So let's start from Business Angels Malta, for example. Business Angels Malta was created from seeing a problem between early stage startups and business angels. So as a mentor, when sort of the idea is validated and maybe a proof of concept MVP of a product is there and we start selling, as soon as we start wanting to market it locally, globally, or what have you, or trying to do 10,000 versions of our product, when we start production, you need money. You need money to market, you need money to hire more people, you need money to scale. And if you're a startup and you're not, you need to find that money from somewhere. So in being a mentor, a lot of people used to ask me, do you know any investors? Obviously, you hear it once, you hear it twice, you hear it 3 times. And I decided to start doing something about it. At that time, we did a small conference called Investor Connect. I did it together with Mimcall, and I invited like initially 50 startups, 50 investors. It was a small event of 100-something people to try to get... But the event itself was not going. I thought that would solve something, but that didn't solve anything. It just proved that what was needed was an organization in terms of that these 50 investors keep on meeting and keep on seeing. That got me to open the door. Listen, all over Europe and all over the world, there are business angels networks, but there isn't like one which is happening alive and kicking here in Malta. Maybe sort of now that we started something, we could continue it. And that continued. So now it's been 1.5 years. We keep on. Even this week, we did a pitch, 3 startups pitching in front of investors, online, of course, now until in the current pandemic. But it continued. So that links a lot to the mentoring and to the startup. The other part is in innovation. So back in 2017, initially we were going to do an innovation day, and then we renamed it into Malta Innovation Summit. Without knowing, it became like a sort of a national thing. And then we tried also to attract people to come to Malta for it. But then again, what I've learned is doing a one event a year, although it brings the community together, it needed something that continues. So here again, I created, like BAM is a non-profit organization, Malta Innovation Forum is another non-profit organization that brings people who are interested in innovation, bring them together to discuss, to learn from each other, to get events together, to suggest to maybe to government what could be done in terms of innovation. So they are, as you see, there is a pattern of having an organization, usually a non-profit, but it links yes, it takes 1, 2, 3 hours every week of my time, but it's all linked to this innovation and technology. Silicon Valletta is another one. I'm just on the board. It's we meet every week. Silicon Valletta is an entity, again, a non-profit organization bringing all the tech entrepreneurs in Malta. And here again, it gives the opportunity for tech entrepreneurs to share their ideas, and challenges, see what's happening, how it affects them. It creates this sort of community. How this helps me? Yes, I give time and I give my energy, I give my ideas to these 3 organizations. However, I also get back in the sense of, if you're in business, you need to know what's happening, you need to follow. So you either follow alone or you're following in communities, and maybe also organize events for them and bring them together. So it has collateral benefits being an organization, and even in a non-profit organization, although you seem to be giving time, effort, time. There is also everyone who's a member gets back. It's not just giving. It's not like a waste of time, and they are linked to my passion, technology and innovation, and anything. This is another maybe major point. If we had to list down what are the key things of this interview, is passion. Find something you're passionate about, and you never work another day, as they say, that you'll never feel the pain. Having a call about tech entrepreneurs, having a call about innovation, having a call about linking startups to investment. We can pass all weekend doing it, and I don't feel like because I have a passion for it, so I don't feel and when you're doing something you're passionate about, it's much easier. So this is also in terms of business, because this is about entrepreneurship and startups. I'm mentioning, find something that you're passionate about, and that solves a lot of problems. Make sure that you build persistence, build a plan, and execute, because we said execute. Then obviously there will be ups and downs and problems and all that. There are some other lessons, we can discuss them as well, but overall, this is the formula to actually start and to get going, and how I'm executing this formula in my way, both offering a service as a business and also when giving back through non-profit organizations.
So you spoke a lot about Business Angels Malta and how you're connecting investors with startups. We have in Malta 2 publicly funded startup incubator and accelerator, which have had some interesting results. But we don't have, of course, any kind of private accelerator like you would find. Like Y Combinator kind of thing, which really aim to scale startups very big, very fast. Do you think there's a need for this, or is there? Or do you think it's something that could be worked upon?
I think it's just a matter of time. Of course, we need to be clear that our market, in terms of size, it's what it is. However, Malta being small, usually it's an advantage rather than disadvantage. You can see it only small because if you have a product that you're going to sell only to the local market. But apart from that, most of the other conditions could be sort of an advantage in terms of being small and legislating fast. We've done it in the past, for example, with blockchain. So that model can actually work. In terms of having a local incubator, accelerator, private one, I think it's just a matter of time. I see clearly from both my work as a mentor and also my work in Business Angels Malta that both the numbers are growing, both the numbers of startups and both the number of investors are growing. Both the opportunities, both the scale of the opportunities are going. So where before maybe there was an opportunity to invest a few $100,000, now it's going in millions. There is also the element of, how can I explain it? Knowledge. So startups are getting more and more refined and understanding what it means to get investment. It's not just we need money and as if we're going to get money because we're a startup, but there is a process. There is getting all the ducks in a row, which I told you about the exit, apply for getting all the ducks in a row to receive money. And I see that a lot of startups slowly are getting to understand it. Then there's the element also of education of investors. Before we might have seen like property, which is the most the easiest maybe, and the one that gives you a clear return on investment in a short period of time. But slowly we're seeing that investing in startups could match that, or even could be even better, especially if you have a passion for what that startup is doing, and you can contribute in some way through networking, through mentoring in some way, in some aspect of the whole venture. So, with all these indications, to answer that, it is just a matter of time. We're not there yet, but I think even this year, next year, we could start seeing the indication will become clearer and clearer and clearer with time. It's like we already saw it there. It's we know it's going to happen, but the seeds are still in the soil. I know that I'm going to see the green grass growing, but I need to wait. The ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, still has a lot of phases to grow. Obviously, we can all do our part, and the government can do its part. The private investors, the startups, whoever. We all need to keep going at it. It's not like just wait for the seed to grow. We need to keep, and actually we can increase the momentum. However, if we do, definitely it will happen, and the private incubator will be one of the elements of this big ecosystem in the future. And we will have we already have very successful companies. Maybe sometimes we don't hear about all these stories, but we already have success stories, and in the future we'll have more and more and more. I think the younger generation is even becoming more and more entrepreneurial. I see it from my daughter. She's 16, and her friends and all that. They are. I think they are more entrepreneurial. Maybe also because of the economic times that we're in. Maybe being born in the late 70s, for example, is different from being born in the late 90s or whatever. So it makes a big difference. So the economic. I think the economic. Where the country is economically makes a difference also in how entrepreneurial our younger generation is. Of course, there is also that's the plus part, but there's also the minus. Having a super well paid job is not a big incentive to actually start your own, because like if I'm going to get 30, 40, 50K a year, and why would I risk getting zero if I can get a 30 to start with, and the 40 after, and the 50 after 5 years? Why do I bother, to risk getting from zero and try to go all the way there? So there is there's the plus side and the minus side. However, I think the plus side is much bigger than the minus side.
Yeah, there's also that our accessibility to information now is just so high. As a mentor, of course, you help people to avoid making either the same mistakes you did, and that's of course is invaluable to be able to teach these kind of lessons. You mentioned you had some examples that you could mention to us.
Yeah. No. More than examples, I think sort of. Through the years, I've learned my lessons sometimes the hard way, and one of the things of being a mentor is you want who you're mentoring not to repeat them. And I'll mention at least like two easy ones. One of them is avoid the storm in a teacup scenario where there is a bad day at your startup or at the office or at your business. This happens also in big. So it happens. It's omnipresent. This thing. There is a bad day. We sort of, because of office politics and this and that, and because of my character and your character, we really create a storm in a teacup. We fight and we ruin everything where we could have. Sort of, if we actually backed down and thought about it, the next day would come, and with a clearer mind, we wouldn't have created this useless storm in a teacup. I hate storm in teacups, for example, and I think they are a waste of time, and then it's a waste of time and energy. But it happens. You cannot control them. So if you have a way of trying to all of you as a team remove this storm in a teacup environment, it would help. The other one would be never take decisions based on fear. So in terms of as a manager, as a leader, as a founder, you usually find yourself in situations where, oh my God, I need to take a decision by now, and you're afraid, because fear is a very important motivator that we have in ourselves, and we take a decision based on, I don't have the money. So and you take a decision because you don't have the money. You, for example, give away something which it can be used in various scenarios. But so ideally, you try to, when you're taking decisions based on fear, you try to back off think about it with a fresh mind and take the right decision, because you will regret taking decisions. So especially, for example, when you're starting and all that, this thing of that money is not available in large sums should not be a reason for of taking certain. So, for example, if you require if marketing, it depends. Not sometimes for a startup it makes sense to go under the radar, but sometimes marketing is super important. So usually it's all an element of technology and marketing nowadays. Most businesses are technology and marketing. So the marketing is you cannot say we don't have money, so we don't market. You need to find an innovative way of marketing, but you cannot, because you're afraid of it won't work, and you don't market, because that is going to harm you. You took a decision based on fear. And I'll stop here for now.
Okay. This kind of links as well with your favorite technology, but if you had to start a company today, what industry would it be in? What would you do?
Yeah. So I will answer the question in a different way. Sort of, if you're asking me if I go back to 2005, whatever, and I will do something different, I would tell you no. I enjoyed all the journey. Every decision that you take will lead you somewhere, left or right. You turn. So it's not about sort of changing things. The decisions will lead you to somewhere. So, however, there are sort of industries which are ready for disruption, and they do attract me. So, if I had to mention 3 industries that I see that there will be disruption in, for example, would be banking. Definitely in the next few years, we will see, like, we are already seeing, but I think there will be more and more. The other one would be food, agriculture, the way we produce food and the way we actually we deliver food, the food chain of how we eat, or how we eat, like, fresh food, fresh vegetables, for example, and how they arrive to us. And the third one would be transport and mobility. So how we actually move around. Out of these 3, the last 2, the food and the food also related to climate and to sustainability, that I have a personal interest for example. And the other one would be the transport. I'm not a big fan of banking. So everyone has his personal choices, but me personally, in terms of sustainable food chains, for example, and in terms of sustainable mobility, or transport and all that, those are 2 things which I think they are already being disrupted for a couple of years, and they will continue, and something that interests me. So if I would transport myself into, like, starting again, it would be in those 2. Hopefully I answered you.
Definitely. And if there was anything that you think I should be asking you, what would it be?
I think you did a great job. We've touched like we've touched my story. We've touched what I think as a conclusion. I don't know if this is like the concluding question. I don't know if you have more questions, but I think if there is something to take away from this, is that what we've said, in find something that you're passionate about. You need to be persistent. So you either have it as persistent, or you're going to learn to be persistent. Because if you're not, make some sort of plan, but you know that this plan is going to change, and execute. This, obviously, then there are the things that we mentioned of sort of the don't take decisions based on fear, and don't bring storm in a teacup scenarios. Then everyone has his own story, everyone has his own background, everyone has his own. So you just apply this sort of overall overall sort of framework to your situation. Everyone is different. Everyone is different in age, and in financial availability, in skills. So if I'm technical and you're more into sales, it cannot be like you apply it by the book. But I think that would be the takeaway from this conversation. That's, I think, what hopefully came out of it.
For sure. Okay, that's it for another episode of Fuck Ups and Success. Today we had Johan Zammit from SmartStudios. I can say from my personal experience, a great guy to contact if you have some interesting, innovative, creative ideas that you want to take to market. So don't hesitate and take that action before thinking twice.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and see you again soon, I hope.
See you.
Ciao.